And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
And this week, court packing becomes a public issue as Jerry Nadler, you all remember him, the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, along with Ed Markey from the Senate side, propose 4 additional justices of the Supreme Court of the United States, thereby with a Democrat president and a Democrat Senate and a nuclear option there, providing instantaneously 4 new Democrat members of the Supreme Court of the United States, thereby changing the balance of power there in favor of the left. And this is really the far left that's promoting this. I mean, even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, whom the media and some on the left wanted to prop up every word as being sacrosanct, said 9 are the right number. And Stephen Breyer, perhaps the court's most liberal member now, says that it's equally bad for public policy, bad for the judiciary, bad for the legal system to expand the court. And even Joe Biden, once upon a time, claimed that FDR's court packing plan was, quote unquote, a power play. Of course, that was back in the days when Joe Biden also thought that the filibuster was a good thing. Times have changed. But Republicans are pushing back. This isn't likely to pass, but be careful. I don't encourage people to call members of Congress here very often, but call your member of Congress and say, support the legislation Republicans are offering to freeze the number of justices on the Supreme Court at 9. Keep the 9. It's good for the country, it's good for our judicial system, and it eliminates raw political power plays from being infused into our nation's highest court. None of that logic, of course, has slowed the far left down. And it's important to keep in mind that Kamala Harris supported court packing while she was a candidate for president. And we all know that she now sits a heartbeat away from the Oval Office. Furthermore, don't trust Joe Biden's court advisory panel. He says it's bipartisan, but of the 36 members, only 4 can even be considered arguably conservative. We kind of think that we know where that will ultimately go. The only good thing is that it slows down the process a little bit and allows all of us to say, keep the 9. Biden's so-called infrastructure package remains in the news, and we're getting a new definition of infrastructure every single day, it seems. What we thought were roads and bridges has been replaced with a whole lot of other stuff. But ultimately, it boils down to a stealth plan to bring in the Green New Deal through the back door, since they can't get it through the front because the American people simply don't support that kind of thing. When we talk about hard infrastructure, roads, bridges, ports, even broadband, the American people agree that we should be spending money on that. It's actually in the Constitution that we should spend money on roads. But all of this profligate spending wrapped around it is crazy. Even Delaware Senator Chris Coons, a Democrat, says that we could be doing this for billions rather than trillions. And so the conversation is going to continue, and hopefully we'll get back to some sanity both in the definitions and also in the telling of the truth about the whole thing, because Biden and Buttigieg, his Secretary of Transportation, have been touting a analytics, I think it's Moody Analytics study that said that there were, quote unquote, 19 million new jobs to be created over a period of years as a result of his proposed plan. The truth is, it's around 2. And when Buttigieg was confronted about this on national television, he said, well, I should have been more precise. He should have told the truth. And the truth is that the Biden infrastructure package is an over-bloated, profligate spending bonanza for the far left and is terrible for the American people, in particular, middle-class, hardworking taxpayers. And for my friends in my home state of Pennsylvania, there are 3 constitutional amendment questions on the ballot at the May primary. It's important to remember that independents can vote on those questions even though they're precluded from voting for candidates in the 2 parties' primaries. So everybody can get out to vote on these 3 questions, 2 of which are particularly important. They deal with the governor's powers to declare emergencies. One limits the duration of those emergency declarations, and the second allows the General Assembly to cut them off when they've run too long. Both of those situations we saw in the pandemic with Tom Wolf overreaching constantly and pushing back every time the elected representatives of the people in the General Assembly tried to cut him off or shorten the duration of his lockdown and shutdown orders. The third constitutional amendment prohibits discrimination on the basis of race and ethnicity. All three deserve yes, yes, yes. Very simple. Yes, yes, yes. There is a fourth question having to do with the borrowing power of paid and volunteer fire companies. My son is a volunteer firefighter, so I understand a little bit about what goes into volunteer firefighting and the tremendous benefit that it provides to citizens, not only for their safety, but also protecting their tax dollars, because if you have to go to paid fire departments, all of our taxes go skyrocketing. So yes, 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 yes for Pennsylvanians on the ballot questions this year. Finally, we sometimes note the death of notable folks. This week, Bernie Madoff, the biggest scammer in American history, the head of the largest Ponzi scheme ever, passed away at age 82. May God have mercy on his soul. But for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.